Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California. I am here on morning number 1765. I've been here this many consecutive days, giving you morsels of a thought, of hopefully wisdom from people like George J. Chanos, Millennial Samurai, Book 1, A Mindset for the 21st Century. I try to bring you pieces of wisdom, morsels of a thought, and then actually hoping that we learn the right things to do, hopefully that we take the action and create virtue. Now, George J. Chanos has a few posts that I disagree with, but I've noticed that what we need to do is band together and save our democracy. Please save our democracy, even if it means having to get down in the mud and roll around in the mud. The struggle is real. Seriously, the struggle is real. We need our democracy no matter what. There are people who say that the current government shutdown is the responsibility of one party, but actually there are players in each party, three parties that I know of, the Democrats, the Republicans, and the Independents. There is at least one or more than one party from uh, each group that is partially responsible for not reopening the government. So I don't like to say that there is only one party that is truly responsible. But we do need, for example, I am on SNAP benefits. I take supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits. And I have to tell you, it's because my income is so low that I cannot afford to buy my own groceries. And I'm bringing this example up because I know that there are people who resent that their tax dollars pay for somebody else's food when they themselves are struggling too. And they themselves are struggling because they are just above the minimum requirement to just above the maximum requirement for an income level that brings them assistance to food. Now, I know that sometimes people will pay $32 in a whole year and then they will make a comment to somebody in a grocery store. Please don't do that. Please don't do that because you don't know what everybody else's struggle is. I myself was homeless. I look wonderful, but tell you this, when I was in the hospital room the other day, there was a man who became very disruptive because he said he needed medical attention. And the reason was that he saw me put on all my makeup. He said, there are people who don't belong here. Well, I was there. I was not feeling good. But when I put on my makeup, I look like I feel wonderful. I put on lipstick. I put on the liquid and I put on eyebrows and then I look wonderful. So I've been trying to do that every day for you all, but there have been days you've seen me otherwise. But the thing is that you don't know what other people's struggles are. So my point about the makeup is that when I was homeless, I looked like this. This is what I looked like. I literally would also get up and put on eyelashes every day, which takes 22 minutes on, not off, but on. Getting them on takes 22 minutes every day. I did that from the homeless shelter. I had to look like I wasn't homeless or that I was in a struggle. I had 3 jobs, and yet I was still sleeping in my car or cars. There are times I had to rent a car just so that I'd have a place to sleep. And it was so that I could work and sleep. It was a real struggle. So please don't make comments to people in the grocery stores. They are having their own troubles, and you don't know if they just came out of the hospital. Not like me, but people who have actually had operations. I saw a man in the line for the prescriptions, and he had one of those hospital bracelets on too. I don't know what he went through, and I don't know how long he was in the hospital. He was standing, and if it hadn't been for that bracelet on his wrist, I would never have known that he was having a struggle at all. So please be mindful of the facts that everybody goes through a struggle. The rich go through their bigger struggles, the poor go through their younger, not younger, but struggles with smaller amounts of money. And the original government we had was wonderful for people who made their way into the system. I spent my whole life not being in the system, and I spent over 20 years uh, being ill and being supported by my parents. And I have to tell you, it was not an easy road. And I did not get onto disability until later, which is where I am right now. I'm looking at the alerts. So morsels of a thought of wisdom. I thought I would bring something about our current and our 21st century mindsets. I am bringing this real life story to you to assist you in seeing how the climate is right now. Now, this is not propaganda. This is me. This is just me. It's only going to be on my site today. And I want to um, impart a few of the right things to do, because all of us are taking action, or hopefully that all of us are taking actions when we have the energies to bring ourselves to those actions. So we are going to the wise people who have internal knowledge. This is internal martial arts, by the way. Has anybody ever heard of that? Internal martial arts have to do with the martial arts you have to do in your brain, the kung fu you have to do in your brain, the karate, the whatever you have to do. Even aikido is, I've heard, is the gentle way, is what I've heard it's called, because you're using the force of energy, all the forces of energy that come to you, even if they're not from you, to turn things in the direction that works for you. Now, we're trying to bring more virtue into the world. Now, this gentleman knows, George J. Chanos knows a lot of the things that will keep your mental energy strong. And that's why I read his book to you. I pick books based on whether I can impart good knowledge so that we learn the right things to do. Okay. Yesterday was about brain rescue. The day before that, and on Tuesday, was about dating women, dating men. And on Wednesday, I bring you books, the Book of Virtues, and by William J. Bennett. And on Monday, I bring you something from the mortgage broker who knows how to run a business. A business. So we all have to become entrepreneurs at heart. And we all have to see if we can benefit from other people's life experiences, even when we don't like the person. I mean, hey, George J. Chanos, I like you, but even if you don't like the source of your information, keep in mind, how good is that information? Assess it, assess it, assess it. Morsels of a thought. Okay, my spiel is there. George J. Chanos wrote Millennial Samurai, Book One, a mindset for the 21st century. My point is to bring us wisdom, hopefully that we learn the right things to do, and that when we do them, we create virtue. Mentors. Okay, chapter 84, page 178. Mentors. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. That's by Oprah Winfrey, American media owner, talk show host, actress, and performer. Now, I feel as though I should give you a little bit more information about myself. I feel as though today I want to give you some more of my background. I was, I am an Asian American. I'm an American citizen. I'm proud of this country. I would die for this country. And I do have an old country. It doesn't mean that I have alliances to, it doesn't mean that I, it, I have an old country. And I would not want to see anything bad happen to that one either. I won't even tell you which country it is because it's not China. And you'd be surprised. But the culture is Chinese, where I was born, and language is a portion of culture. We build into our language things like, oh, throw salt over your shoulder. That's idiomatic. What's the idiomatic? Culture is conveyed in language. And so when we have English only speakers in America, we have the British English culture in that language built in that we learn slowly, little by little. I understand Mandarin Chinese, and Japanese people understand uh, kanji, and kanji means Chinese words in Japanese. Kanji. So the culture has been transmitted through some of those the written culture has been transmitted that way. Oral cultures are a little different. Japanese sounds like ichi, ni, san, shi, go. And then Mandarin sounds like 一二三四五, and Cantonese sounds like 一二三四五, and then Taiwanese sounds like 一二三四五. You see a few words that were common. They trade with each other. We trade with each other. I trade with my neighbor. I trade candy with my neighbor. You can trade goods with your neighbor. Everybody can benefit if we all think about what the other party gets from us too. That's also from the mortgage mentor that we see on Mondays. I am I am an amazing woman. Anyway, I am an Asian American of Chinese descent. And in my culture, as I was growing up, I learned English in kindergarten and nursery school. Actually, nursery school, I didn't actually understand much English, but in kindergarten, I understood every word, and I was a great student even then. Now, my parents and my mentors wanted me to become great at school, so I did. I was filling the stereotype of being the mathematician in elementary school. I was filling the stereotype of trying to be the top student. Okay, that's helpful. It's aligned with American culture. But when I got to college, somebody had to order a pizza for me. And I said to them, oh, since I'm not allowed to go out at home, I'm not allowed to go out and order a pizza. And that was my first introduction into American independence as a college freshman at UC Berkeley. I attended UC Berkeley as a Regents Scholar. And when I got my financial aid assessment there, I was given enough from the scholarship to pay for my dorm room for the year. So all my parents had to do was put out enough for tuition and books, and that was it. My living expenses were covered, including meals, because that was what the dormitory was like. The meals were covered. There were meal plans, and I ate the entire meal plan. I took the 3 meal plan, including weekends. So then I was raped. So in my culture, as well as some other cultures, the fact that you are raped makes you a sullied human being. At that time, that's how I felt, and I wanted to kill myself. So then I went through a struggle. That was a struggle. Anybody who has been through suicidal ideations probably has had the same struggle I had. We are on the topic of Millennial Samurai, um, book one, A Mindset for the 21st Century. And what I'm doing is I'm giving you background on my current situation so that we all can actually begin to see what the other side lives with. When I grew up poor and wealthy and poor again, poor and wealthy and poor again. So we started out that way. Where did I just pause? I paused at the suicidal ideation stuff. And then, here, for anybody who's ever thought about killing themselves, here is a winner for you. Okay. What wins if you die? Good or evil? Evil. Therefore, if you die, you will have committed evil because you allow evil to reign supreme over you, your spirit, the waste of the human nature that brought you here, the physical work, the eating, the food, the life, the expenses, the cultural knowledge, the brain. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Do you remember that? In America, we had that as a slogan for a while because there were so many people who in the 1970s were going through hippieism and then becoming not high self-esteem. So everybody deserves high self-esteem. We also deserve to know what we can do to benefit other people, mankind. We also deserve to know what can hold us together. Okay, back to the author. Mentors. Okay. If you are fortunate enough to find yourself in the presence of greatness or have the opportunity to know or work with an individual whose example you would like to follow, recognize the importance of that opportunity and capitalize on it by learning all that you can. If you want a mentor, understand that mentors are attracted to people who have talent and show promise. So, exhibit talent and show promise. Once you identify someone you would like to have as a mentor, find a way to help that person. Don't ask or expect them to help you before you have established a firm relationship. If they eventually do help you with anything, it means they see something in you that they like. They may see your promise and potential, or they may see how you could be able to help them in some way. Show gratitude. Thank them for their time, support, and interest. Work tirelessly to impress them. Earn their support and admiration. Deserve it, but don't expect it. If it comes, cherish it. If a prospective mentor doesn't respond to you, it may mean that you haven't done enough to impress them, or they may need more time to see if you stay the course. It may mean that they saw something or heard something they didn't like. More likely, it may simply mean that they're just too busy or not inclined toward a mentorship. Whatever the reason, don't blame the individual you admire for not noticing or embracing you. Don't assume you deserve it. You may not. You're certainly not entitled to a mentor. Mentors are a rare gift that is occasionally bestowed upon a select few. And if you are fortunate enough to attract one, treasure that person and the incredible opportunity that their guidance represents. Great people all seem to have one thing in common: a reverence for excellence. If you share that reverence and exhibit excellence, you are more likely to attract them. Chapter 85, Respect, page 180. It's a short chapter. Albert Einstein said, German-born theoretical physicist Albert Einstein said, I speak to everyone the same way, whether he is a garbage man or the president of the university. Interesting. People often make the mistake of ignoring people they think can do nothing for them. The doorman, the receptionist, the secretary who they pass in the hallway, the janitor, or the waitress. Each of these people deserve as much respect as you do, and as odd as it may seem, any one of them could hold the keys to your future. Someone you meet who may seem insignificant to you could have a relative that works at or even owns a firm you want to join. A complete stranger could know someone who needs your services. The guy who takes care of your lawn could have a son or daughter that you fall madly in love with. You just never know. Some of the most momentous transactions originate from the most unlikely sources. How you interact with everyone will speak volumes about who you are as a person, and that will not go unnoticed. In many cases, you will be judged by those who can help you by how you treat those that can't help you. A CEO of a Fortune 500 company recently said in an interview that he will take people he is interviewing for employment to lunch and arrange in advance to have the waiter screw up their order, quote, just to see how they respond, end quote. Treat everyone you meet with kindness and respect. I'm going to go to a shorter section. Parenting is not shorter. How to be a good father is shorter, but that doesn't mean it's less significant. It just means that the idea is simpler to explain. But as we all know, things that are difficult to do are often very simple ideas. Like, for example, women letting men chase them. Sounds simple. Sounds simple. Let the man chase you. Let him be the pursuer. That sounds simple. But how to do it? It takes like 7 books to deal with it. Shoot. You know that because I read them to you on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. How to be a good father, says George J. Chanos. Begin by understanding the responsibility, the importance, and the joy of fatherhood. Far too few men understand the importance of this sacred obligation. 43% of U.S. children live in fatherless homes. 72% of all Americans believe this is the most significant social problem in the U.S. today. The statistics on children from fatherless homes show that 90% of homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. 85% of youths in prison are from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists are from fatherless homes. 71% of high school dropouts are from fatherless homes. 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. Yes, yes. I say to answer your question. I grew up with an adoptive father. Um, anyway, your participation in any activity can have consequences, and you need to be prepared to accept personal responsibility for those consequences, especially the consequences that can arise from sexual intercourse. Now, I'm going to go a little over time. I'm hoping to edit that out. Not this. I mean, it's part of what I was talking about earlier, except for the evil part, to know what is good and what is evil. Suicide turns out to be evil doing. Turns out, just the philosophical conclusion I came to. Anyway, okay, back to the book. Okay, consequences that can arise from sexual intercourse. It doesn't matter how or why you became a father. It doesn't matter how you feel about the mother. All that matters is that you are a father, and with that status comes certain responsibilities. You need to understand and accept that reality before you engage in the unprotected sexual activity that creates that responsibility. I have done and accomplished a great deal in my life, but there is no experience that I treasure more, says George J. Chinos, or am prouder of than my experience as a father. My most treasured memories are of time spent with my daughter, my nieces, and my nephews. It should be noted that you don't need to wait to be a father to experience the joy of fatherhood. There are millions of children who need a father figure in their lives today. If you're interested in helping these children, there are many things you can do. Contact local schools, churches, and community organizations to offer assistance. Offer to mentor children whose fathers are absent from their lives. Determine what level of commitment works for you. Once a year, once a month, once a week. Offer these young people the same advice, guidance, and encouragement that any good father would offer to their own children. Take them to see where you work, to lunch, to a meeting, to a movie. Read to them. Encourage them to read. Read them passages from this book or give them a copy of their own. There are very few things that you can do with your time that would be more important, or fulfilling. Okay, so today was a good rant, I suppose. I didn't intend to rant, but uh, I gave you a bit of my personal history, as well as what wisdom George J. Chanos has in terms of our martial arts. That's why he calls it millennial samurai, I bet, even because you are being a samurai to have a mindset for the 21st century, such as this one. Okay? Talk to you later, old Kinderhook. Bye bye.